You've Gone Mail is the sixth episode of the first season of So Little Time, and there won't be any spoilers in this discussion, but I will talk about a little bit about what happens, but I won't give any spoiler details away. And I feel like the first half of this was tremendously slow. I just wasn't really enjoying it for quite a long time, but I'd say the second half really picked up, and actually I did end up really liking it. We have three main parts of the narrative. One of them revolves around Jake and Macy, Riley and Chloe's parents. And Jake happens to see an email that Macy sent, and she's going on a date with somebody. And Jake is clearly still struggling with the divorce. He's trying to get on with his life, but this is something that kind of made him feel things he perhaps didn't expect to feel. And I won't say exactly how that part of the narrative develops. It was quite sweet in moments, but also a little bit creepy at the same time. He didn't intentionally snoop on her emails to find this email, but at the same time, this is information he really shouldn't have had anyway. And he wouldn't have had all of these negative emotions and these confusing emotions if he didn't look at her computer. So there are some lessons there to be had. The other part of the narrative focuses on Chloe and Riley separately, but they're both doing community service hours, and Chloe is spending time with an older character, an older individual. And again, I won't spoil it by saying what happens, but I thought that was really sweet. And it's all about getting to know somebody and finding things that might actually make them happy. And it was very sweet. And of course, anything that encourages community service of any kind is always going to be motivational. Riley is working with Larry, and that went in a direction I was not expecting. And I found it to be quite delightful, very funny, but also I think very interesting based on what might happen in future episodes. I feel like the pacing of the story with Riley and Larry is really great as well. Really thoroughly enjoyed that. So there were bits of this. In fact, all of the second half of the episode, I'd say I actually quite enjoyed. It was just very, very slow to get to that point. Oh, and Manuelo was brilliant, particularly when Riley was telling him things about Larry, and Manuelo was very confused, and I thought he was absolutely brilliant. So definitely some good moments. I think some good messages as well, some really strong takeaways. Definitely not the strongest narrative, definitely very, very slow to begin with, and for about half of the episode, maybe even more than half. It took a long time for me to start enjoying it, but we got there eventually. You've Got Mail may not be perfect, but ultimately it was still a decent episode of So Little Time.